There's a question that I reckon just about every bloke over 60 has asked himself at some point. Usually late at night, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. It's not the kind of thing you bring up at the pub with your mates, and most fellas wouldn't dream of mentioning it to their GP either. Too bloody awkward, right? But here's the thing. It's a fair dinkum important question, and it deserves a straight answer. That question is pretty simple, really. Is what I'm doing in private, whether that's having a bit of intimate time with the missus or sorting things out on my own, is that actually good or bad for my health? Could it be affecting my prostate? G'day, folks. If you've ever had that thought cross your mind, I want you to know something right off the bat. You're not alone. Not by a long shot. In my 20-odd years as a doctor, I've had hundreds of blokes quietly mumble this question to me, usually while staring at their shoes like they've done something wrong. But today, we're going to have a proper yarn about it. No judgment, no beating around the bush, just the facts, as we know them from the science. Because what happens in your private life isn't just some minor detail. It can actually have a real impact on your well-being, on how many years you've got left, and more importantly, on the quality of those years. I'm Dr. Zoe Mitchell, and I've been working in men's health here in Australia for over 2 decades now. I've seen it all, heard it all, and I reckon it's high time we had an honest conversation about this stuff. So stick with me until the end, because some of what I'm about to share might genuinely surprise you, and it could change how you think about your own health. Right. Let's start with the basics. To understand why ejaculation might matter for your health, we first need to get to know the star of the show, your prostate. Now, imagine there's a little factory sitting right underneath your bladder. It's about the size of a walnut, weighs maybe 20 grams or so, but crikey, it punches well above its weight when it comes to importance. This little gland produces something called prostatic fluid, which makes up about 30% of your semen. And this isn't just filler, mate. It's packed with zinc, citric acid, and special enzymes that protect and nourish your sperm, giving them the energy they need to do their job. But here's the thing. Your prostate doesn't work alone. It's part of a whole team. Your seminal vesicles chip in with the bulk of the volume, a fluid rich in sugars that acts like fuel. Your testicles produce the sperm themselves, which is only about 1% of the total volume, but obviously the most important bit. When all these components come together, that's your semen. Now, how does ejaculation actually happen? It's a fascinating 2-stage process. First, there's the emission phase, where all the different fluids gather in the urethra, like actors waiting backstage before the curtain goes up. Then comes the expulsion phase, where the muscles of your pelvic floor contract powerfully to push everything out. The whole thing depends on perfect communication between your nerves and muscles. It's like a well-rehearsed orchestra, and that's why conditions like diabetes or certain prostate surgeries can throw a spanner in the works. Understanding this basic plumbing is crucial, because what might seem like a private little detail is actually a complex biological process that can influence your overall health in ways you might not expect. So here's a question I get asked all the time in my clinic. Doc, is it bad if I hold off? Can not ejaculating regularly actually cause me problems? Let me give you the straight answer. There's no solid evidence that not ejaculating will directly cause a serious disease on its own. But that doesn't mean there are no consequences at all. Think of it like a creek that stops flowing. The water goes stagnant, gets a bit murky, and starts causing problems for everything around it. Something similar can happen with your prostate. When a bloke goes for long stretches without ejaculating, he might experience what we call pelvic congestion. That's a feeling of heaviness, discomfort, sometimes even pain down there. For men dealing with chronic prostatitis, which is basically ongoing inflammation of the prostate, not ejaculating regularly can actually make the symptoms worse. Back in the 90s, researchers found that increasing ejaculation frequency, whether through sex with a partner or masturbation, helped a lot of men ease these symptoms. It's almost like each ejaculation gives the gland a bit of a clean-out, reducing the pressure and helping things function properly. But here's something most people don't talk about: the effect on your sleep. After ejaculation, your body releases a cocktail of hormones, including prolactin and oxytocin. Both of these promote a deep sense of relaxation and can help you drift off to sleep more easily. A study published in 2023 Inches, a sleep disorders journal, found that sexual activity, especially when it ended in orgasm, improved both how quickly people fell asleep and the quality of their rest. Participants reported nodding off faster and waking up feeling more refreshed. For a lot of older blokes who struggle with insomnia, this is actually a pretty big deal. Ejaculation might just be a natural sleep aid that's been there all along, so while not ejaculating won't cause immediate serious harm, maintaining some regularity can bring real benefits. Less pelvic discomfort, less inflammation, and better nights of sleep. Not a bad deal, really. Now we come to the big one. The question that causes the most worry and sometimes genuine fear in my patients. Does ejaculating less increase my risk of prostate cancer? Can ejaculating more actually protect me? For decades, scientists have been asking exactly the same questions. And while the answers aren't absolute, they're pretty bloody interesting. Let me tell you about the Harvard study. This was the biggest research project of its kind. They followed nearly 32,000 men over 18 years. What they found surprised just about everyone. Blokes who reported ejaculating 21 times or more per month had up to 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer compared to those who only managed 4 to 7 times. And here's a really interesting bit. The study showed it didn't matter how you achieved the ejaculation, whether it was with a partner or flying solo. The protective effects seemed to be linked to the physical act of ejaculating itself, not the type of sexual activity. Other studies have backed this up. In 2017, another piece of research came to the same conclusion, and in 2018, a big meta-analysis, which is basically a review of multiple studies combined, confirmed there's an inverse relationship between ejaculation frequency and cancer risk. The more often you ejaculate, the lower your risk appears to be. Now, I should mention these are observational studies. They rely on what participants remember and report, but the consistency of these findings across different research projects means the experts are taking this pretty seriously. So why might this be happening? The scientific community has a few theories, and they're all worth knowing about. First up is what I call the flush-out hypothesis. Think of your prostate as a sponge full of tiny ducts and channels. Over time, potentially harmful substances, carcinogens from cigarettes, toxins from your diet, can build up in the prostatic fluid. Each ejaculation might work like a rinse, flushing out these nasties before they have a chance to damage your cells. If you're not ejaculating often, those substances just hang around longer, potentially increasing the risk of mutations. Second, there's the hormonal balance angle. Regular ejaculation might help keep your testosterone and other androgens more stable, preventing the kind of excessive cell growth that could lead to tumors. Third, think about your immune system. Regular sexual activity works a bit like exercise. It stimulates your immune system, your body's natural army against dodgy cells and infections. An active immune system is better at spotting and destroying cancer cells early. And fourth, there's the circulation factor. During orgasm, those muscle contractions improve blood flow to the whole pelvic region. This reduces local inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which play a role in cellular aging and cancer formation. Now, does this mean you just need to ejaculate more to prevent prostate cancer? Not exactly. The science doesn't present this as a medical prescription yet. But what we can say is that an active sex life and regular ejaculation seem to be part of a lifestyle that's protective for prostate health. It's not magic, but it's a habit that might make a difference. After hearing about that Harvard study, a lot of blokes ask me with a worried look, "So, doc, how many times should I be ejaculating each month to stay safe?" And I want to be really clear here. Even though that study mentioned 21 times a month, that number is not a medical target. You shouldn't be forcing yourself to hit some quota like it's a bloody KPI at work. The reality is that the ideal frequency is deeply personal. It depends on your age, your overall health, whether you've got a partner, your stress levels, even your daily mood. No two blokes are the same, and every body responds differently. What matters isn't reaching some magic number. It's maintaining a natural regularity that fits your own rhythm of life. If you start forcing yourself to meet some arbitrary target, you'll probably just create anxiety and frustration. And ironically, that can have the opposite effect. turning something pleasurable into a source of stress. What the research tells us isn't that there's a universal goal. It's a concept. Frequent, regular ejaculation seems to be linked to lower prostate problems. So rather than counting every single time, the key is to listen to your own body. Keep your intimate life as a healthy part of your routine. No guilt, no pressure, no comparing yourself to what you read in some study. In short, there's no perfect number for everyone, but there is a common truth. A natural, active sex life is an ally for your prostate health. Now, I want to address something that came up in a lot of questions I've received. Does masturbation cause other health problems? Does it make you weaker or affect your brain? Look, I've heard all sorts of old wives' tales over the years. Some blokes genuinely worry that masturbation will sap their physical strength or make them slower mentally. Let me be absolutely clear. There is no scientific evidence that masturbation causes physical weakness, reduced intelligence, or any cognitive decline. None. Zero. These are myths, often rooted in outdated moral beliefs rather than medicine. If you're healthy and you're not experiencing any discomfort, masturbation is a normal, natural activity. Full stop. Another question I get asked a lot is about alcohol. Do beer and spirits affect the prostate? This is actually a fair question. The research here is a bit mixed, but what we do know is that heavy drinking, we're talking more than a couple of drinks a day consistently, is associated with increased inflammation throughout the body, including the prostate. Moderate drinking, like a cold one with dinner, probably isn't going to cause major issues for most blokes. But if you're putting away a slab every week, that's a different story. Everything in moderation, as they say. We also need to talk about what happens when surgery comes into the picture. As blokes get older, many end up facing prostate surgery, either for benign enlargement or for cancer. And one of the most common questions is, what's going to happen to my ejaculation after the op? For benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is basically when your prostate grows and starts blocking the flow of urine, surgery aims to clear out some of that excess tissue. In most of these cases, you'll experience what's called retrograde ejaculation. This means when you orgasm, the semen goes backwards into your bladder instead of coming out. The sensation of pleasure is pretty much the same, and your erection shouldn't be affected. The only difference is you won't see any fluid. It gets passed harmlessly when you have a wee later on. It's really important to know this before surgery. A lot of men freak out when they don't see any semen after orgasm, thinking something's gone wrong, but it's just a change in direction, nothing more. For prostate cancer, it's a different kettle of fish. A radical prostatectomy removes the entire prostate and seminal vesicles. After this operation, there's no more semen production. You can still have orgasms, what we call dry orgasms, but there won't be any fluid. And because the nerves responsible for erections run right alongside the prostate, there's a risk of erectile dysfunction or urinary incontinence. The good news is that modern techniques, including robotic surgery, can often preserve these nerves, reducing the side effects. The key message here is that every surgery has different consequences for ejaculation. None of them mean you've lost your masculinity. But being well informed beforehand means you can face the process with more confidence and less fear. Now, after everything we've covered, I want to make one thing crystal clear. Regular ejaculation can be beneficial for your prostate, but it's not the only thing that matters. Not by a long shot. There's no magic number of ejaculations, no miracle diet, no secret supplement that's going to guarantee you'll never get prostate cancer. What actually saves lives is regular medical checkups and healthy lifestyle habits. From age 50, or even earlier if you've got a family history, you need to be seeing your GP or urologist regularly. The two key tests are the PSA blood test, which measures prostate-specific antigen and can pick up problems early, and the digital rectal exam. Yeah, I know. No bloke loves the idea of it, but it takes about 30 seconds. It's not painful, and it can detect changes in the gland that might otherwise go unnoticed. These checks, done on time, can catch issues before they become serious. Early detection can mean the difference between a simple treatment and advanced disease. Beyond the medical stuff, your lifestyle matters enormously. The evidence is clear on several fronts. Don't smoke. Tobacco isn't just bad for your lungs, it's linked to prostate cancer too. Keep a healthy weight. Obesity increases inflammation and tumor risk throughout your body. Eat well. More veggies, fruits, whole grains, less processed meat and refined sugar. And keep moving. Sedentary lifestyle is one of the worst things you can do. Even just 30 minutes of walking a day improves your circulation, your immune function, and your metabolism. These habits don't just protect your prostate, they're good for your heart, your brain, your whole body. And one more thing. Be careful of those miracle cures you see advertised online. In recent years, there's been a flood of so-called natural products promising to shrink your prostate or cure cancer. I'm telling you straight, health is serious business. No supplement replaces medical checkups or healthy living. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So as we wrap up this yarn, I want you to take away one simple but powerful idea. Your prostate health doesn't depend on any single factor. Yes, regular ejaculation can be beneficial, but it's not a magic formula, and it shouldn't cause you anxiety. What truly protects you is a combination of things: getting your checkups on time, maintaining healthy habits, staying active, eating well, and listening to your own body. If your intimate life is active, enjoy it without guilt. If you're going through a patch where it's not as frequent, don't stress or compare yourself to some number you read somewhere. The key is to live your sexuality as part of a balanced, positive lifestyle. Remember, your prostate might be small, but its importance is huge. Paying attention to it now can make all the difference in how you live your coming years. More energy, better sleep, lower risks. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What do you reckon about all this? Do you think there's a normal number? Or is it completely personal? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely enjoy reading them. And before you head off, if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Share this with a mate or family member who might benefit. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me and helps me keep creating honest, useful health content. Thanks for sticking with me today, folks. I'm Dr. Zoe Mitchell, and I'm sending you a big dose of good health and confidence. Catch you in the next one.